Hello from my garden. It's May 20th, and today I'm going to talk about the difference between annuals and perennials. And I'm going to call some shrubs perennials, some shrubs and roses perennials, because they return every year. A perennial is just that. It's a flower or a plant that you plant once and it comes back every year, or repeatedly. It may not be every year forever. An annual you plant and it only lives one season, unless you live in a mild climate like Mississippi, and we have cold weather. In fact, last year it snowed and we had an ice storm. But in Mississippi, plants that are supposed to be annuals, and I'm talking about this cucumber plant, let me see what else. Oh, the bean plant, the beans crawling up that pole. Tomato plants all around me. The birds planted the seed last year, I believe. I never planted a tomato right there. I just staked it up so it looks bad. But that's a super sweet 100. And last year my birds carried those seeds all over, and I bet I had a bazillion super sweet 100 tomato plants. And now they've come back. A lot of them have come back next year. That won't happen in where it's colder, but it will happen some of the time. You can't count on it. You can't count on it. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. As I said, this beautiful hydrangea comes back every year. This is a blue hydrangea that, unless I put some aluminum sulfate, it's going to turn pink. It comes back every year. The roses come back every year, and unless I abuse them and kill them. These are zinnias that I planted this year. They're going to bloom later in the summer. And zinnias are an annual. In fact, it's one of my favorite annuals. But this zinnia that I showed yesterday is one that the birds scattered, and it bloomed all by itself last year. Yesterday, it only had one little yellow flowerette around it. Now it's covered with flowerets. I'll write a post and explain why those flowers, it looks like the crown of thorns or crown of flowers. But this is the tomato that the birds planted, and it's going to town. I never had a tomato plant here. See that out there? That's a pumpkin plant. I dumped a pumpkin there last year, and the seeds from that pumpkin I don't know whether it's made 1 or 50 pumpkin plants, but we have pumpkins galore right there. Poke plants are a reliable perennial, or in fact to a fault. I believe that, I'm not sure. What happens when you have a cottage garden where everything's not controlled and structured? You forget what the birds planted and what you have planted. I have scattered zinnia seeds all out in here, and it looks like we're getting ready to have a zinnia parade. This is poke. The poke is pretty to me, but poke is something that if you give it an inch, it'll take a mile. That is cucumber that I did not plant. That is Amethyst Falls wisteria, which is a perennial, and it should come back every year until I kill it. And I just bought that. I just planted that this spring. So and look how much it's grown. So, goldenrod. I never had a goldenrod plant here. Goldenrod's on the back of my property, and I did transplant one plant, and now look here. I have 50. They're all around. In fact, this morning I had to pull up some of them because I couldn't walk through my garden because they'd gotten so thick. That's green beans growing up that pole. Just regular old Kentucky Wonder green beans.